small, intimate moments. George remembers Molly's favorite flowers, surprises her with trips, or cooks her dinner. These details make him seem attentive and devoted. In the TV movie, scenes of them laughing together or slow dancing in the kitchen reinforce the fairy tale romance. Isolation tactics. George subtly distances Molly from friends' family, framing it as us against the world. He might dismiss her concerns or charm her into trusting him completely. The wedding countdown invitations are sent, dresses are fitted, everything seems normal. This makes his disappearance unthinkable, both to Molly and the audience. Foreshadowing and subtle clues. The novel, Leslie drops hints in Molly's internal monologue. She might note George's too perfect behavior or fleeting moments where his smile doesn't reach his eyes. The TV movie, visual cues, e.g., George turning away when Molly mentions his past, create unease. The soundtrack might shift slightly in scenes where he's alone, hinting at duality. Why this scene matters. Dramatic. Irony. The audience later learns George is a con man, making rereads chilling. His gestures were calculated manipulations. Emotional gut punch. The happier the early scenes, the harder Molly's devastation lands when he vanishes. Theme of deception. Love and trust are weaponized, setting up the thriller's core question. How well do you really know someone? Before the disappearance, there's often a false sense of security. The story lulls the audience into thinking everything is fine right before ripping the rug away. In the novel, Molly might wake up to George making coffee, kissing her goodbye, or texting her that he'll be home late. There could be a trivial argument, something small enough to ignore, but significant in hindsight. In the TV movie, a mundane domestic scene, George packing a suitcase for a business trip, smiling as he reassures her. The camera lingers on his face just a second too long. Was that a flicker of hesitation? Why this matters. The ordinary makes the disappearance feel more jarring. The vanishing act, how it unfolds. The actual moment of disappearance is rarely dramatic. It's the quietness that unsettles. Molly returns to an empty house. His toothbrush is gone. His side of the closet is empty, hangers dangling. No note, no call, just silence. The growing dread. She calls his phone, straight to voicemail, checks his office. He hasn't worked here in months. Asks friends, "We thought you two broke up." Narrative effect. The audience feels Molly's confusion morph into panic. The emotional collapse. This is where Molly's world fractures. Her reaction is key. She doesn't jump straight to, "He's a con man." Instead, she cycles through denial. Maybe he was in an accident? Self-blame. Did I do something wrong? Anguish. How could he just leave? In the TV movie, Tamsin Outhwaite's performance shows Molly physically crumbling, sinking to the floor, staring at their wedding invitations. Flashbacks of George's loving words now feel like cruel jokes. In the novel, Leslie Pierce uses visceral internal monologue. The house didn't just feel empty, it felt like it had never held him at all. The first clue, the cracks in the facade. Just as Molly starts doubting herself, she stumbles upon something that doesn't fit. A receipt for a hotel she's never heard of. A locked drawer with a fake passport. A neighbor mentioning, "He left in a hurry last night." Why this matters. This is the first thread Molly pulls, unknowingly unraveling George's entire lie. The shift. From heartbreak to thriller. The disappearance scene isn't just about loss, it's about awakening. Molly stops crying and starts digging. The music in the film or prose in the book shifts from melancholic to suspenseful. The audience realizes this isn't a breakup story. It's a survival story. Molly's initial search for George is frantic but still naive, until she stumbles upon something that doesn't fit. The phone records. She checks his call logs and finds repeated calls to a number she doesn't recognize. When she dials it, a woman answers, someone who claims to have also been engaged to George. The paper trail. A bank statement shows withdrawals she never knew about. A hidden lease agreement reveals he kept an apartment in another city. Narrative effect. The audience feels the same sickening drop in their stomach that Molly does. This was planned. 2. Meeting the other women. Molly's investigation leads her to other victims, each with eerily similar stories. Jenny, the first fiancé. She shows Molly photos of George, same smile, same promises, but with a different name. He told me his name was David, she says. The pattern emerges. Love bombing, isolation, financial exploitation, disappearance. Some women lost life savings, others were left with debts in their names. Psychological impact. Molly isn't just grieving a loss, she's realizing she was never loved at all. 3. The digital ghost. George's lies extend into the virtual world, forcing Molly to become a digital detective. Fake social media profiles. The George she knew has no online history before 2 years ago. Reverse image searches link his photos to stock images or stolen accounts. Deleted evidence. His texts to her were vague enough to avoid legal trouble. Emails are wiped, but Molly finds fragments in her trash folder. Cinematic parallel, TV movie. A montage of Molly scrolling through screens, her face lit by the blue glow of her laptop, the modern horror of being erased by someone who never existed. 4. The gaslighting echo. Even as Molly uncovers truths, she battles self-doubt, because George's manipulation was designed to make her question herself. Maybe I'm overreacting. She rereads old messages, searching for hints she missed. Friends dismiss her concerns. He just got cold feet. The ultimate betrayal. She finds proof he was researching her finances before they met. Their first chance encounter was staged. Emotional turning point. This is when Molly's sorrow hardens into rage. 5. The hidden backstory. The deepest horror comes when Molly uncovers George's true identity and realizes how many times he's done this before. Birth certificates, aliases, and criminal records. His real name might be Daniel, Marcus, or another identity entirely. Some records suggest violent pasts, disappearances of women who confronted him. The chilling realization. He's not just a con man. He's a predator. And now that Molly's digging, she might be in danger too. Molly's investigation leads her to another woman, someone who looks at her with a mix of pity and grim recognition. How they connect. Maybe it's a name in George's phone, a forgotten email, or a social media post. When they meet the other woman, the chilling similarities. Same love-bombing tactics, surprise trips, excessive gifts, rapid commitment. Same isolation strategies. Your friends don't understand us. Same financial exploitation, joint accounts drained, loans taken in her name. Narrative effect. The audience realizes this is a system, a playbook. The emotional impact, grief multiplied. For Molly, meeting another victim isn't just shocking, it's humiliating. The crushing realization, she wasn't unique. The words George whispered to her, scripted. Their love story was recycled, reused, recalculated for maximum manipulation. Shared shame. Both women grapple with self-blame. How did I not see it? The other victim might be hardened, resigned, a glimpse of what Molly could become. In the novel, Leslie Pierce emphasizes Molly's internal monologue. I thought our love was a flame, but it was just a flicker from a candle he'd lit a dozen times before. In the TV movie, the actress's performances convey silent devastation, a shared glance that says, He broke us both. The exchange of evidence. Building the case. This scene isn't just emotional photographs. Jenny shows Molly a nearly identical engagement photo. Different city, same pose. Documents, warnings. He's dangerous. When I confronted him, he threatened me. Suspense. Builds. The audience wonders, how far will George go to keep his secrets? The shift in Molly's mission justice. From victim to avenger. She's no longer just searching for George. She's hunting him. The other victim becomes an ally, a guide through the wreckage. The birth of a network. They might find more victims, each adding another piece to the puzzle. Symbolic moment. In the TV adaptation, this scene often ends with Molly staring at a map or board, connecting dots, literally seeing the scale of his deception for the first time. The unspoken fear. Am I next? The conversation isn't just about the past, it's about survival. The other victim's fate. Was she stalked after confronting George? The first glimpse of violence. Up until now, George's crimes seemed financial, emotional, but now Molly uncovers something darker. A police report. While digging through records, she finds an old assault charge under one of George's aliases. The victim, a woman who accused him of fraud, just like Molly. A whispered warning. Another victim tells her, "When I threatened to go to the police, he showed up at my job. He didn't say a word, just smiled." Narrative effect. The tension shifts from "where is he?" to "what is he capable of?" 2. The stalking paranoia. As Molly gets closer to the truth, strange things start happening, small enough to dismiss, but chilling in context. The car that follows her, always 2 blocks back, never close enough to confirm. The hang-up calls, breathing on the other end, then silence. Things out of place. A photo album left open on the kitchen table. Didn't she close it? Psychological torment. The audience, and Molly, can't be sure if it's George or her own unraveling nerves. 3. The disappearing witnesses. Molly tracks down another woman from George's past, only to learn she's gone. She moved away suddenly, a neighbor says. No forwarding address. Horror. Subtext. Is George eliminating loose ends? 4. The final revelation. Then comes the moment that changes everything, a hidden crime scene. Photo. In an old news article, Molly spots George in the background of a shot, standing near a woman later found dead. A detective's offhand remark. We always thought her ex did it. Never could prove it. Realization. George isn't just a scammer, he's a killer. Why this section is so effective. It exploits universal fears, the terror of being watched, the dread of realizing you're in way over your head. Molly's transformation. Completes, she's no longer a victim, she's a warrior, but one in mortal danger. The audience's role. We're no longer just observers, we're screaming at Molly to run, even as we know she won't. The setup. How Molly finds him. Before the confrontation, Molly's investigation reaches its peak. She's pieced together enough to track George down. The final clue, a slip-up in his digital trail, a forgotten email, a careless bank transaction. A tip from another victim who's been quietly watching him. The location. Somewhere symbolic, his real home, a place tied to his past crimes, or even Molly's own house, if he's been watching her. Isolated enough for tension, but realistic enough to feel plausible. Narrative effect. The audience holds their breath. This is really happening. 2. The moment of recognition. When Molly first sees George again, the scene plays with expectations versus reality. His reaction, option 1, the charmer. He smiles as if delighted to see her. Molly, I've missed you. Option 2, the snake. His face goes blank, then cold. You shouldn't be here. her reaction, shock, rage, or even momentary weakness. Does part of her still love him? The audience wonders, will she falter? In the novel, internal monologue captures Molly's racing thoughts. This was the man who promised me forever. Now he's just a stranger with a knife-sharp smile. In the TV movie, the actor's expressions tell the story. Tamsin Outhwaite's face flickers between heartbreak and fury. 3. The power struggle. This isn't just an argument, it's a battle for control. George's tactics, gaslighting, you're hysterical, none of this is real. Charm, you were different, Molly. I actually loved you. Threats, walk away now or you'll regret it. Molly's resistance, she throws evidence in his face. Which name should I use? David? Marcus? She plays his game, pretending to soften before striking back. Cinematic parallel. The camera circles them, tightening like a noose as the tension builds. The truth explodes. The confrontation reaches its peak when Molly forces George to admit something, even if indirectly. His slip-up. He references a detail only the real George would know, confirming his identity. Or more chillingly, he doesn't deny the worst accusations. Her triumph, you're not a man. You're a pattern. She records him, takes a photo, or leaves with irrefutable proof. Psychological impact. For the first time, George is the one exposed. 5. The physical threat. Words aren't enough. The scene escalates to physical danger. George's mask. Fully drops, his charm vanishes, his voice goes flat. You just had to keep digging, didn't you? He grabs her, blocks the door, or reveals a weapon. Molly's fight for survival. She uses his ego against him. They'll never believe you over me. Or she fights back, escaping in a heart-pounding chase. Thriller trope. The audience is left wondering, is this where he kills her? 6. The aftermath. The confrontation doesn't end cleanly. Molly's victory, but at what cost? She escapes, but she's traumatized. Or she gets proof, but now he really wants her dead. George's fate. Does he flee, leaving an open ending? Is he arrested, only to smirk from behind bars? Or does he vanish again, ensuring the cycle continues? Emotional resonance. The audience is left with a mix of relief and unease. Why this scene is so powerful catharsis. After hours of build-up, Molly finally faces the monster. Unpredictability. George's behavior keeps us guessing. Is he sorry? Angry? A killer? Themes, love versus manipulation, truth versus illusion, fear versus courage. The stage is set. No more running. The final confrontation typically occurs in a location heavy with symbolism. George's territory. His real apartment filled with mementos from past victims. A remote location where he's clearly planned this moment. Molly's territory, her own home, now violated by his presence. A public space where his mask must finally slip. The bedroom where he'd once whispered promises was now just a locked door between them. The power shift, from prey to predator. What makes this confrontation extraordinary is the reversal of roles, Molly's transformation. She enters armed with evidence, not emotions, quotes his own lies back to him, verbatim, physically blocks exits like he once controlled her movements. George's unraveling. His charm fails for the first time, panicked shifts between personas, lover, victim, aggressor. Desperate physicality, sweating, twitching, voice cracking, cinematic note. In adaptations, the lighting often changes. George's face becomes shadowed while Molly stands in stark light. 3. The verbal duel. Truth as a weapon. Their exchange follows a devastating rhythm. Molly's opening strike. Which script are you on now? The apologetic fiancé or the misunderstood victim? George's counter. You're being hysterical. This isn't you. Classic gaslighting. The killing blow. Molly produces incontrovertible proof, a photo of him with another victim on their supposed anniversary. Psychological insight. This mimics real-life narcissistic collapse when a manipulator's lies are fully exposed. 4. Physical escalation. When words fail, the scene turns visceral, George's last resort. Destroys evidence in a rage. Attempts to physically intimidate or attack, may pull a weapon, often one referenced earlier in the story. Molly's defense uses his own tactics against him, records the outburst, leverages environment, alarm systems, hidden cameras, final verbal strike, now they'll all see who you really are. The aftermath, Pyrrhic victory. Even in triumph, there's haunting realism. Molly's state shaking, but clear-eyed. No celebratory tears, just exhausted resolve. George's fate arrest with ominous last words, disappearance, leaving the threat open-ended. In rare dark endings, Molly's Pyrrhic victory costs her everything. Bittersweet note, she often keeps one piece of evidence, a photo, a note, as a reminder of survival, not love. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.